team, headed to Tallahassee to take on the Northeastern team that, Coach, with you being a pitching coach by trade, you must look at their numbers as a pitching staff and just go, wow.
Yeah, I'm looking at all their stuff and going, wow. Looks like about as complete of a stat sheet as we've seen in a long time. They're really good offense, really athletic, really dynamic. They got homers, they got stolen bases, willing to get hit by pitches. I think they've outscored their opponents by over 200 runs on the year. And then the pitching staff and the depth of the pitching staff, it's just a very complete club on paper.
And it pays off in wins. I think they have the nation's longest winning streak right this second. I think it's 25, 26 games, something like that.
I think it might even be 27.
Well, there you go. Obviously, you want to win games. I'm not trying to come up with a dumb question here, but when you enter postseason play on that long of a winning streak, do you wonder that sometimes it's just going to regress back to the mean you have to lose one eventually? If you were the coach of that team, would that be a concern of yours?
Well, I will tell you this. I'm not sure. I don't know if anybody in the SEC's ever won 27 in a row. But I will tell you this, going into it, we've had our back against the wall for about a month, and anytime you win 27 in a row, I'm not saying that there wasn't some, that they had to scrape through, but I would say they're probably, feeling it a little bit more than probably we are going into it, and just kind of coming from where we're coming from. So, I'm not saying that's a positive for us or an advantage for us. They're playing as good as anybody and incredibly complete, as a team, but. There's something a little bit different about postseason baseball when everyone shows up and are, 0-0.
Coach, when you took this job as the interim just a few weeks ago, Mississippi State was on the outside looking in of the postseason. You were able to get this team playing good baseball, get in winning games, and get back on the right side of the tournament brackets. Now that you're here, Coach, obviously it's job not done, but do you take some measure of what you've done to this point to say, okay, we proved that we could turn this around, now let's keep it going?
Yeah, our kids are hungry. That's the biggest thing. I mean, we've had probably our best work week of practice this past week. Of course, we didn't play like we wanted to and stick around in Hoover, but our guys came back to work. I gave them a couple of days off. They were in the building like chomping at the bit to get back going, wanted to work, wanted to get back together. So, it really is a credit to them. They know what they're playing for, and it's been important to them this entire time. And you can hear it in their, in the things that they say and the messages that they have, and also in, what they're willing to do and the work that they're putting in. So, it's something that we just got to continue to go. I don't think we've played nearly our best baseball yet this year. Whether we get to it or not, will be our challenge. We're certainly working towards it, but I don't think in all three phases we've played our best at the same time yet this year. So, we're working and striving to hopefully do that starting this weekend.
You talked a little bit about it in your one press conference in Hoover about, getting some rest for your pitchers. Specifically, you mentioned Pico Khan by name. How much good did having that time off do your staff?
Well, I think we have like a grouping of guys that have been, I don't want to say overused, but Pico with some of the rest and lack of rest and some of the pitch counts, he got up there quite a bit. Ben Davis is a guy that we've gone to quite a bit. Evan Sierra's pitch counts have been stretched out over the course of, the last month or so. And so there's a grouping of guys that, we felt like certainly needed a little bit of a breather. And then there's some other guys that needed to work. And so, we had the guys out today. We did a little bit of a scrimmage today. We'll do another mini scrimmage tomorrow just to get them playing baseball and moving around and getting some of those arms some work. So I think really it's just about finding, individually what each guy needs and trying to put them in a position to be at their best come Friday afternoon.
Coach, every year on this radio show, on my podcast, on shows like this, the same debate is had around postseason baseball. And that's, if you're a team like Mississippi State and you're an SEC team and you're playing a team that's a mid-major, do you throw your Friday night guy, your ace, however you want to call him, against that team, or do you try to save them for a potential matchup with the one seed in the regional? I'm not asking you to divulge that unless you want to, but talk us through the plan of attack there. Do you lean one way or the other on how you want to manage your staff this weekend?
Well, I mean, we're going to scout these guys first before we, make any decision. All of them, all the starter options are kind of on a timeline to be prepared to throw game one if needed. And then, really when you look at where we've been and who we are as a club, I mean, if you look at the last month, maybe even 5 weeks, You go in any given weekend, and we have a different guy stepping up as an ace. It's been Pico Khan for probably the first 2.5 months of the season, and then we've had some really stellar outings out of Evan Sierra, and we've had some really good ones out of Carson Liggins. So, we're just going to kind of take it one day at a time and make sure that we're in a position to put our guys in the position that they're the most comfortable in. So we probably default to staying the same. But with that being said, I hadn't scouted it yet, and we do have options.
Coach, we weren't able to have you on last week. You were traveling over to Hoover, so we didn't get a chance to talk about Hunter Hines becoming the all-time home run leader here at Mississippi State. What kind of impact has he had on your team at the time, in this time frame where you've been the head coach?
Well, I think really what you see is like the weight had been lifted off his shoulders, and Hunter's not that he was pressing or anything, but certainly it's something that's crossed his mind. I think I joked on the show a couple weeks ago, like, what home run record are you talking about? And and you see him smiling a lot more, man. He was running around practice today, seemed like with a smile on his face for 2 straight hours, which that type of ease and that type of looseness and freeness is what allows guys to go out and play their best. And we of course got to be focused, intense, and locked in. But I know it's a huge weight off his shoulder to where now he can just focus on getting good pitches to hit, having team at-bats, moving the lineup. And then I just think the elation and just the joy that his teammates had, in seeing that moment and getting a chance to be a part of it, I think it was cool for the entire group.
Ace Reese is a guy, we talked about him a little bit throughout the season, right? And I don't know that a guy who is as highly rated in as many offensive statistics as he has ever gone more under the radar at Mississippi State. I mean, there's an outside chance. It's not a big chance, but there's still an outside chance he could win the SEC Triple Crown when this is all over with. It just feels like, is he just a quiet guy himself? Because I don't feel like we've talked about him enough.
Well, when you look at one, our track record, I know, is a little bit better now as a team, but he wasn't getting the same type of buzz that, a lot of the guys that headlined our league the whole year because we were, in the bottom or middle of the pack. I also think, when you look at it, he got off to a pretty slow start and really, really got it going in Houston. And if you look at the SEC schedule and you look at the 3 teams we played in Houston, there isn't anybody in the country that has handled and hit and performed better against good pitching than Ace Reese. And so, maybe the total stats look good, not exceptional. But if you look at what he's done in the league, like you said, he's in contention for the Triple Crown in the SEC. He's playing and hitting his best here lately. I mean, the weekend he had at Missouri was, unlike anything I've seen in a long time at this level in the league. And guys just, it's not like you're not prepared for him. It's not like he's sneaking up on anybody. Guys know everything about him, and he's just so complete as a hitter that it's a really tough out. And he's taking his walks. He's trusting the guys behind him. He's doing real damage on all pitch types. It's a very, very complete hitter, and his approach right now is like a pro. It's a lot of fun to watch and have in our lineup.
Only a couple of minutes left, Coach. How much has Coach Gotro, been working with that guy and guys throughout the team? I don't think people realize how good a hitting team this is for whatever reason.
Well, and it's hitting and it's offense, and Goat's done a great job. If you look at what we've done, I know we've had some holes here or there. Hoover wasn't. We're facing one of the best arms in the league and had the morning slate. But if you look at what we've done in the first inning, to be able to kind of put ourselves in the lead and in a position of a little bit more comfort, he's done an incredible job. Top to bottom. We have fairly consistent lineup now to where we're getting guys at the top, performing, and we're getting guys at the bottom really doing their job and leaning into their role. And it's a tough, gritty group that he's done a great job with.
Coach, I don't know if you're aware of what happened the last time Mississippi State went to the Tallahassee Regional with an interim head coach. Are you familiar with what occurred there?
Man, I'm familiar with it. I've seen the videos. I've gotten the texts and all that. I don't want to read too much into it. I just want to prepare this group. But yeah, I'm aware, man. I'm aware of it.
I will have to run my interview with Elijah McNamee that I did a couple years back. I'll have to run that again on the podcast feed this week. If you want to check that out, Coach, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, I'd love for history to repeat itself for sure.
We shall soon see. Coach Justin Parker, Mississippi State baseball. Hope we're talking to you again next week as you get prepared for a super regional. Thanks, Coach. We appreciate you.
Awesome, guys.